Hello, physics students. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, or maybe good afternoon. Welcome back. We were on spring break. That's kind of funny this year. I hope you are all doing well, and we are continuing to learn physics for the rest of the year. I want to say I miss all of you. I know Miss C misses all of you. It's too bad. It's sad that the rest of the year is going to be us at home. But that doesn't mean we can't still learn physics. So this video is going to be review. Last couple of weeks before spring break, we were learning about waves. We're still learning about waves, so it's important that we remember the types of waves, ways we measure waves. There is going to be a little new material at the end, but most of this is review. Remember, we are in a unit where we want to learn about stars. Stars like our sun. If it's nice and sunny outside, if you go look at the sun or look near the sun is a type of star, similar, the same type of objects. We're trying to learn about the sun and stars. And to do that, we need to learn about light, which is a type of wave. So we're right here. We're learning about waves, and then we're going to learn about light, and then we'll see again how atoms are related to both light and the sun. Okay, so let's remember waves and sound. Remember, this is a wave. It is a way to move energy. Look at this wave. It's moving energy across. If you were in like a boat, you go up and down, up and down. Oh, we're learning about waves. Mr. Thrasher recommends, and you should, maybe you printed this out, or maybe you were writing some of these words down on a piece of paper. Remember? You should try and find that paper. See if you have this paper here where you wrote definitions. It will help for today. Maybe hit pause and try and find that paper. Let's think about some of the information we learned about waves. There were two types of waves. There's transverse. Transverse are going up and down, up and down. Look at this piece here. It's going down and then up. It's going up and down, up and down. And then longitudinal, side to side. Left, right, forward, backwards, forward, backwards. Two types of waves. And we had a whole list of vocabulary that we learned. Here's our definition of a wave: up and down or back and forth motion that moves energy. There's energy moving. Here are the two types of waves. And we also learned how to measure waves, wavelength, how long a wave is, and amplitude, how tall a wave is. Here is how you measure wavelength. Mr. Thrasher goes from a mountain to a mountain, the top of one wave to another top. This is the wavelength, how long a wave is. And amplitude, remember, amplitude is how tall. And you measure amplitude from the middle. So that's amplitude. Let's remember. Okay, Mr. Thrasher has a wave here. First question, is this a transverse wave or a longitudinal wave? This is a transverse wave, up and down, up and down, up and down. That's transverse. Longitudinal goes like this. Next question, what is the wavelength of this wave? The wavelength is from here, the top, a mountain, to another top, a mountain. Here's my ruler. The distance is here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters, about 4 centimeters. That is the wavelength. Last question. What is the amplitude of the wave? What's the amplitude? The amplitude is how tall measured from this middle line. So here I have the middle to right here. Here's my ruler. What's the amplitude? Here's 1. It's less than 1. It's a little bit below. So maybe 0.8, 0.75 approximately, but not 1, not 2, and not 0. About 0.8. Okay, we also learned about frequency. Remember, frequency is how fast you're going up and down. Low, slow frequency, that's in red. And higher frequency, bigger frequency in blue. How fast a wave goes up and down. And we learned an equation for waves. The speed, the velocity, velocidad, that is equal to the frequency multiplied by the wavelength. Kind of an easy equation. Here are math symbols. Speed with S, frequency with F, and wavelength, do you remember, has kind of a funny letter. Mr. Thrasher thinks it looks like the letter Y, but upside down. This is called lambda, though that's not important. Mr. Thrasher kind of makes like a triangle and then puts a top on it. Okay, there's lambda. We did a math practice with that equation. I'm going to skip that. Now, sound. We learned about sound, and we'll remember a little bit about sound also. Sound, speaking, that is a type of wave. Remember, sound comes from vibrations, little air particles. When Mr. Thrasher is speaking, my voice goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That makes little air particles vibrate back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Look at these little particles. They go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it travels to your ears. This is similar for musical instruments. The guitar, it makes vibrations. Same thing with speakers. If you're listening to speakers, that's vibrations. Mr. Thrasher has a question. Is this a transverse wave or a longitudinal wave? Sound is longitudinal, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Longitudinal wave. Remember, transverse, they're going like this. That's not transverse. This is longitudinal, excuse me. Okay, we also learned about how loud a sound is. That's from the amplitude. A quiet sound has a little amplitude. A loud sound has a big amplitude. So we can see the size, whether it's loud or quiet, by the amplitude. Okay, which of these sound waves is louder? It is A. A has a bigger amplitude. Remember, we saw that the vibrating particles go into your ear. And in your ear, there are little bones, little pieces that vibrate, and it sends a signal to your brain. That's how you hear sound. Now, this is the new material, so make sure you're listening. This is new information. The speed of sound, the sound of Mr. Thrasher. It travels, it moves, it has a velocity, a speed that is constant. It is constant. Sound does not go slow and then fast. It does not go fast and then slow. The speed of sound is constant. It stays the same. It's a pretty fast speed, but constant. This is the number. This is the speed of sound. This is faster than cars. It is faster than most planes. The speed of sound is quick. It's fast. It is constant. It is always 340 meters per second. 340 meters per second. So that's a little interesting. Remember, we have an equation for the speed of sound, or the speed of a wave. Speed equals frequency multiplied by wavelength. So S equals F multiplied by, this was lambda, that funny letter. But for sound, the speed is constant. It is always 340. So we can use this equation, but S for sound waves is always 340. You can always plug in this number if it says it is a sound wave. This is important because we're going to do a practice this week. There is a paper called Sound Practice. Now, if you can print it out, if you have a printer, it might be easy to print out the paper. If you do not have a printer, that's okay. Just like before, you can answer questions on binder paper. Even if you just have like scratch paper, do it on the back, that's okay. But we're gonna do a practice with sound waves. This is on Canvas. There are 2 calculation questions, and Mr. Thrasher will help you with this first one. Let's read number 1 together. It says sound practice. Number 1, what is the wavelength of a sound wave that's 246 Hz? Ooh, a difficult question. Let's see. Let's try and figure it out. For the equation, what equation I use? Well, that is from what do I want to calculate? So look at number 1. What do I want to calculate? Do I want to calculate frequency? Do I want to calculate wavelength? Or do I want to calculate speed? What do you think? I want to calculate wavelength. It says, what is the wavelength of a sound wave? So this is what I want. I want wavelength. Ooh, that's this one. Remember the weird little symbol. So wavelength equals speed divide by frequency. So I write down the equation. Wavelength equals speed divide by frequency. Okay. Now, what number do I plug in for speed? It's a sound wave. The speed of sound, constant. It is always 340. So it's on your paper. It's on the paper if you print it out, or if you look at it, it's on the paper right here. The speed of sound is constant. So S, easy, 340. So you put 340 divide, what's F? What number is the frequency? Oh, this is the frequency. Remember, frequency is measured in hertz. Hertz. It's Hz. This difficult, but this number is the frequency. So the wavelength is equal to 340 divided by 246. Okay, so I helped you out. You might need a calculator or your phone or use Google to calculate an answer. And then you have another calculation question. Okay, remember, if you don't have the paper, it's okay to do it on binder paper. This was my example from before. But you could get just a piece of binder paper or a blank paper, and it says here, what's it called? Sound practice. So you could write sound practice, and you could do the similar write-up. You could write lambda equals frequency or speed divided by frequency. So you don't have to print it out. That's okay. That's okay. Also, at the bottom of the paper, you have two calculations, and then you have some sentences to write. We are still practicing writing sentences. For the 4 sentences, number 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're going to write 4 sentences using these pictures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Using these pictures, we have different size waves. And it says they're different sound waves. So if we pretend that these are sound waves, we see different wavelengths, different amplitudes. It's asking different questions. Like number 3, which wave is the loudest, the most loud? I want a sentence. I have an example here. You could say, wave E is the loudest because. Here are some words. What does loud based on? What does it use? It was the amplitude, remember? Loud sounds have big amplitudes. So try to write 4 sentences. And then remember, for this homework, this sound practice, after you finish, either on this paper or on binder paper, doesn't matter, you're going to take out your phone, you're going to take a picture, and then you're going to email me that picture. Make sure Mr. Thrasher can see all the questions, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so you get all the points. Mr. Thrasher will give you full points for trying the problems. You just got to try them. It's okay if you make mistakes. I'll give you all the points if you try your best. Okay, so just try your best. You take a picture, and then you email Mr. Thrasher. Okay, so here's an example. Here's a piece of paper that I took a picture of. I'm going to open up mail and email P. Thrasher. It's right here at smuhsd.org. Okay, you could also email me in Canvas, but that's a little more difficult. So I think this is the easiest. Okay? Well, that's the end of my video. So we remembered about waves and sound, and then I helped you with our new sound practice. You should complete this by the end of this week if you can. Okay? Thank you for watching. Goodbye.